How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, always joined by my co-host here. I got Aaron over there from Brutally Honest Sports, his own show on the opposite side. He's my co-host here, and he's got his own show out there. You know, he's gotta expand himself a little bit, right? So, Aaron, how we doing? Coming back. We're at the end of the weekend. It's Sunday here. We're at the end of the weekend, but how we doing on this Sunday night?
Oh, excuse me, still battling that a little bit, but yeah, pretty good, all things considered. And I mean, it was a quick weekend, as they always are, but from a sports perspective, a lot. I mean, more than you thought would go on, I think went on. So can't complain about that. We can kind of get right into it. But yeah, doing pretty well. It's starting to cool off here at night, though. I definitely will say that, which is okay. It's just it's definitely like, whoa, you walk outside, it's a different feeling. So.
You know, the worst time of year is when you get in I got a work van, right? I'm an electrician. I got a work van. I get in my van in the morning. I got to turn the heat on. And then in the afternoon, I got to turn the AC on to go home because it's hot again. It's like, that's the worst time of year is when you're going through a cycle like that. You get back in your van at the end of the day, you turn your van on. It's like, holy shit, it's hot in here. Like, why is it so hot in here right now? You're like, crap, we got to turn the AC back on. I mean, just madness this time of year. And we want to thank a special shout out to a good friend of the show, Key Williams. Made that fantastic intro video for the show. I loved it. Loved every second of it. Hopefully you guys loved it out there. And make sure everybody out there, if you're on Twitter, wherever you are tuning in tonight, make sure you're commenting in on the show. We'd love to hear your opinions. Badgers, Packers, NFL, college football, WWE. I don't even care if you're talking about WWE. Just in the comments, just shoot us a comment. We'd love to hear what you got to say out there. So, Aaron, I got a question for you. Before we start up, have you ever heard of bacon butter? Have you ever heard of bacon butter?
I think I've maybe heard of it, but never seen it, never tried it, never. I've maybe heard those two words together. That's the extent of it. Not well versed in it.
So my mom, she's this fantastic lady out there, runs a hardware store. She found this. It's called Bacon Up. It's this butter greasy. I don't even know what you would call it. It's like butter grease thrown into a container. But I tell you what, it's fantastic. I had it on pork chops one night. Oh my goodness. I mean, I was like, are you kidding me right now? This is fantastic. I don't know what it was. If it was the grease, if it was I don't know. But it was the most fantastic thing I have ever put onto a saucepan with pork chops. It was just great. So I had to ask. Anybody out there had bacon butter before or some version of it? I'd love to hear what you guys put it on. Shoot me your recipes in the comment section too, because I am willing to cook up whatever. And we got to get to it right away. Big Cat from Barstool Sports is cooking up a little bit of something special for them Wisconsin Badgers right now. I want to start in the Badger front, but I want to look at what Big Cat had to say. Dave, how do you say his name over there, Aaron? Portnoy? Is that how you say it? Portnoy? I don't know. Something like that. He's throwing it out. But he said that he'd spend $3 million to help Michigan, the Wolverines out there, get a quarterback. They're sucking at the quarterback position. He's telling them, I'll get you guys a quarterback. Well, Big Cat says, you're not going to out me like that. I'm going to help my Badgers out too. So he's going to be helping the Badgers try to find a quarterback right now. And this is what he had to say. So I'm going to read his quote out there. Hey, Wisconsinite podcast there. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Awesome to see you in the comments. Make sure you're telling us what you're thinking tonight there in the comment section. But Big Cat comes on and he says, I want it to be on the record. I'm a man of action. Wisconsin's quarterback will probably cost considerably less than Michigan's, but I have a plan, and I think I'm going to be able to do what you laid out. It's going to be, though, contingent on basically anyone who lives in the state of Wisconsin who cares about the Badgers, who knows someone who has a business, is going to have to buy Stella Blue coffee when I say go. So Big Cat, he's planning on using Stella Blue coffee, so I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but if it's going to help my Badgers get a quarterback of some making, I'm going out to buy a coffee. That's all I'm telling you right now. So, Aaron, I mean, you're not a Wisconsin guy, you're a Penn State guy, but how does that make you feel? You got some of these guys from Barstool Sports. They're like, hey, we got to help out our programs. Nothing illegal about it in any way, shape, or form, but how does that make you feel out there?
It's interesting, right? I mean, Portnoy's always like bang the drum for Michigan. Like he's always been front and center. And like Portnoy is Barstool. Like without Portnoy, there is no Barstool. So like he carries a lot of weight in that respect. But What is it? Big Cat, right? I always forget, but
Yep,
yeah, Big Cat. I mean, yeah, any like internet traffic is helpful, and you bring in notoriety to a school that doesn't get like a Michigan, USC. Like there's marquee universities that just get all the eyeballs, and then it's just like not to take anything away from Wisconsin, but I think some publicity would help. Like that's not a bad thing. So, yeah, Big Cat doing that. It's I don't want to say I hate it. I do kind of hate it that we've gotten to this point, but it is also fun and cool at the same time. Like, we're going to start seeing, I mean, I'm surprised McAfee hasn't done anything. Maybe it's because he's kind of tied to ESPN at the moment, but like you would think he would try and, make West Virginia a powerhouse because that place is like madness anyway. That's just one of those places that, the more and more eyeballs on that place, it would just get crazier and crazier. And then, them having success, any school having success, it goes down like Alabama. They've had so much success for so long that it's just like a train going downhill and it just never ends. So, yeah, I mean, I like it for Wisconsin. I like it, for you guys that you root for Wisconsin. I think it's only can be beneficial. It's just I wish I like maybe I sound like get off my lawn, but like I wish we haven't gotten to the point where we're buying. Like it's now we are turning into like free agency or whatever. You know what I mean? It just feels different, but it's cool at the same time. Like it's fun. It is fun. So
Yep. No, I agree. And it's the day and age we're living in. And honestly, from a Wisconsin standpoint, I love it because we don't have all that money to be spending like Alabama and all these other schools. So for a Wisconsin guy and Big Cat to say like, hey, I'm going to do my best to get you guys a quarterback that's going to be, substantial, be able to hold his own in the Big Ten Conference. I love it. I love that there. So just a little bit of a tidbit there to start the show out there with Big Cat talking about getting a quarterback into Madison. But we got to talk about the Badgers' performance against Purdue. Aaron, they definitely covered the spread. I know you picked that game as one of your picks for the week. They definitely covered the spread. 52-6 was the final in that one. And Braden Locke, after a bad start, threw 2 interceptions early in that game. And you had that feeling with Braden Locke that it was like, crap. This is a continuation off of Alabama. This is USC game all over again. We're not going to see good. And we saw good. We saw good finally out of Braden Locke. He's actually the first Badger quarterback to throw for over 300 yards since 2015, and that was Joel Stave who did it there. So impressive work out of Braden Locke after a slow start. Once again, he got it going. Good stuff there. 20 for 31, 359, 3 touchdowns, those 2 interceptions, like I mentioned, but those are early on in the game. He got it going in that second half, and that's what you love to see it. You love to see a guy progress throughout a game. Hopefully he carries that over now because, Purdue is one thing. They're not a great program right now, but you're going to see some bigger teams down the road here. You got to have good quarterback play when you head into those. And another thing is you were without Will Pauling. You were without Bryson or Green in there. Green got hurt. Pauling got hurt. You were losing guys left and right in that game, and you had guys step up. Trek Kikawana, who we talked about in the preseason talk, was one of the guys that we expected could potentially step up this year, become a very good receiver. 6 catches for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a guy who's filling into a spot. We weren't going to see him much with Will Pauling in there, but without Will Pauling in the fold, you got to love it. You got to love a guy like that stepping up, a redshirt freshman there. And then Vinny Anthony. Vinny Anthony is turning into a go-to big play guy for the Badgers. 2 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. But like I said, 52 was the long on the game there. He had a 52-yard catch. Touchdown again. Vinny Anthony's turning into the guy we were hoping he would be for this Badger team. And Tyree Walker, he takes over on the ground there without Ches Malusi. 19 carries for 94 yards and 3 touchdowns. You love it. You love it out of this Badger team there. 52-6. 52-6. What is there to really, break down? I guess from a Purdue standpoint, it didn't make sense, Aaron. It didn't make sense. This is a Purdue team who has struggled this season, but you look at this Badger defense, and the biggest spot they struggle is on the defensive line. Their defensive line is just not there. And Purdue decides, okay, let's run outside the tackles. Let's let the safeties, the corners, the outside linebackers do their thing. Let's avoid running towards the defensive line that struggled this year. It didn't make sense from a standpoint there. I don't know. Did you have time to check out much of this game there? It's an odd play game plan for a team that has struggled going up against a defense where their weakest link is that defensive line, and now you're running away from it. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, and I feel like Purdue is usually like I don't watch Purdue week in and week out, but like in the times I do check out Purdue, they seem like they're usually in past years like an intelligent football team. I don't know if they went through a coaching change or something like that in recent memory, but they usually are like like they're a tough team. Like they're fundamental. They usually have a pretty good defense. Like they're a stereotypical Big Ten team. Like they can usually run the ball pretty decent. And like for them to get and like I'm not trying to take anything away from Wisconsin. Like Wisconsin, just completely outplayed them in all facets. When you lose by 40 some points, like you're kind of getting absolutely blown off the field. But yeah, I mean that doesn't make much sense at all. I mean, maybe if they started the game a certain way and then okay, now we're gonna go at their weakness. I somewhat get it, but like you would think they'd want to, kind of get the ball rolling. You're at Camp Randall, a pretty hostile environment as it is. Like let's like make sure we can just kind of capitalize on their weakness. And the fact that Purdue didn't try and do that is mind-boggling. I mean, they dropped to 1-4. This is definitely just a bad season for them all the way around. Like you're not really coming back. I mean, even if they win the next 3, which is pretty much nearly impossible at this point, but yeah, I mean, tip your cap to Wisconsin. That's I think pretty much by far the most points they put up all year. So, yeah. I mean, you gotta hope they can continue that. It might be a combination of like Wisconsin playing well and Purdue being awful. Like that might be a combination there. But yeah, I mean, any momentum you can take, and if you win a game by, like I said, over 40, you're like you should have confidence going into the next game because you absolutely blew the doors off the other team. And I can't imagine, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced like a long travel after like playing any type of sport, but like any of these teams that have to like Penn State, I mean, it's not like Penn State obliterated UCLA. They won by, 20 some, but UCLA scored in like the last minute or whatever. But like to fly cross country after getting not that, I mean, Purdue, you still got to travel back, but like, yeah, I mean, that's any of those road games where you're just getting obliterated. It's like, do you want to get home? Do you want to because when you get to the plane or the bus or whatever it is, it's like, even as a Purdue team, you lose by 40 some. It's like, okay, now like you can't be in a positive mind space. Like, and you're surrounded by your teammates who also like, you're all in that together, just getting crushed. Like that's tough.
I can't say I've had that long of a drive. Sectional semifinal baseball, we had a 3-hour drive back after losing that one. That was rough. That was rough. It was all by bus. You're sitting on these crappy seats on a yellow school bus going down the road. Like that was a rough time. That was a rough time. I will never forget the funniest story I heard from my younger cousin is he plays high school football now, and I can't remember who they were playing one night, and they got spanked. They got spanked good. He's a freshman, so he's not really playing or anything. And they get on the bus after the game and gets on, and their coach is coming on, and he's all kinds of fired up because they just got the doors knocked in. And he goes, I want every single one of you not to talk. And he said, I want you to think about what you did wrong in this game that you can improve on. My cousin's sitting there, and he goes, I played for 8 seconds. What did I do wrong in 8 seconds that I'm supposed to be sitting here thinking about? And I'm like, you're right. You should have been the only one talking on this bus because you played for 8 seconds. The game was already over when you came in. You did nothing wrong in that one. That was hilarious when he said that to me. It's like, what was I supposed to think about? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. You had some bad food or something earlier. I don't know. Think about something.
See, that's even worse because it's like we got the doors beat off us, and I didn't even get to see the field. Like that would be the thought going through my head is like, well, maybe I should have saw the field because look what happened out here with everybody. Like I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I get it from a coach. Like it's not a bad thing. It's just like you talk about ruminating and like just negative. Like there's no other way around it. Like you're just stuck. You're just hoping like you get home and you can go to sleep probably at that point. Like,
that's all you're hoping for. That's all you're hoping for at that point there. So, I mean, let's get back to the Badgers there. Let's get back to the Badgers. I mean, the biggest thing that I saw and what I thought I was seeing all season long was the offensive line for the Badgers dominate. They played Alabama, and Alabama wasn't able to do a lot of things they wanted to do against the Badgers because the offensive line played well. Same against USC. In this game, it was utter dominance in the run game, in the pass game, giving Braden Locke time to make deep passes down the field, opening up holes for Tyree Walker, especially in short yardage on the goal line, wherever it was. Just the simple things that you loved about Wisconsin football, we're starting to see again. This offensive line played fantastic, and the penalties. The Badgers were only penalized 3 times in this entire game for 30 yards. In comparison to Purdue with 6 for 55. Not a big gap there, but limiting the penalties, right? That is the biggest killer to any program, any football team, any game, is when you get penalized, pre-snap penalties, everything like that. This was a game where the Badgers played it clean, they played it right, and got the job done. So you got to love that. You got to love that out of this Wisconsin Badger team. And, that was the big takeaways that we had out of this one. Outside of that, there was one other takeaway I had, and that was at the end of the first half, the Badgers played it perfect. They got the ball down the field, scored. I believe the drive was 11 plays, 75 yards before the half, ran the clock down to 9 seconds, gave Purdue no time at the end of the first half there. And then coming out of the second half there, went down the field, scored again a touchdown there. You got to love that. Back-to-back, something that happened to them against USC, they did it back to Purdue. That's awesome football right there. It's awesome football. So, not a whole lot of negatives to take out of a 52-6 win there. We'll get more into this game midweek here and then prepare for the upcoming game for this Wisconsin Badger team, as they're going to have another test heading to Rutgers. Rutgers is not a bad football team. They're not a bad football team by any stretch, and you can't take them lightly. So the Badgers will have another big game there coming up at Rutgers next weekend there. Let's look at the rest of this college football scene, because holy crap, it was a mess. It was a mess, and if Cal wouldn't have blown it against Miami, it would have been a disastrous weekend for the top 10. It would have been just wild. That would have been a wild weekend. So we got to start with the big one. We got to start with the big one of the weekend, and that was Vanderbilt. Man, you go to Vanderbilt, and you're watching that Vanderbilt-Alabama game, and I didn't realize it until I actually watched it, but there is absolutely not – there's like no Vanderbilt fans in Vanderbilt. It is like all Alabama fans, and then one section up is Vanderbilt. Like, you would have thought you were playing in Tuscaloosa. Like, there was no Vanderbilt fans there, and Vanderbilt takes care of business. 40-35. Alabama tried to make a comeback. They dug themselves a hole, tried to make a comeback there, and Vanderbilt held on. Aaron, wow. What did we learn? I guess that's the biggest thing. What did we learn? Is Alabama not as good as what we thought? Or is Vanderbilt, was this just one of your classic SEC trap games where Alabama didn't expect Vanderbilt to be any good, and then all of a sudden it was like, crap, we're in this 23-14 hole at the half, and now we got to dig ourselves out?
Yeah, I got to kind of lean on the fact that it was just like a trap game. I don't want to say they took them lightly. I don't know. I would think Alabama's smarter than that. Sometimes I question if like Penn State's smarter than that, because I've seen it time and time again play down to competition. But like I would think even with what is it, the Bull, right? I always want to like question their coach's name, but
Kellen DeBoer.
DeBoer, yeah. I just can't. I'm so used to it being Nick Saban that it's just like nothing ever like feels right about saying somebody else's name. But if you looked at like the breakdown of this, Alabama, the 2 turnovers, Vanderbilt none. The time of possession is like insane. Vanderbilt 42 minutes, Alabama 17. Like they controlled that. We always stress that, whether it's the Packers, it doesn't matter who, Wisconsin, own the time of possession. And that's what you want to do against a team like, a powerhouse like Alabama. Milroe didn't play. I wouldn't say he played horrible, but he didn't like, it wasn't a memorable game for him in any memorable in the fact that they lost, obviously, but it's I cannot believe, like, I don't know if you've ever seen that clip of, it was like a defensive lineman back in the day, and he said he was a Vanderbilt defensive lineman. He's like, when you come play us, it's going to be different or something. And yep. Trolled for like forever, but now it actually hits like full circle because Vanderbilt was the team to beat Alabama, which is like so funny in a nutshell. But yeah, I couldn't believe, like, I thought at some point in the fourth quarter Alabama would just not win by like 20, but they just kind of step on Vanderbilt's throat and say, all right, enough of this. Like we're the Crimson Tide, we're like the creme de la creme of college football, but it never really happened. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying DeBoer has pressure on him, but like it's like you got to think Nick Saban sitting there, shaking his like. Not that Nick Saban didn't lose games, but like, and Alabama's dropped games to like random teams even under the Saban era, but it's still like you're being compared to probably the best college football coach of all time, and you drop a game like that. I mean, people, the newspapers and everything else, it's gonna get noisy in Tuscaloosa for him, and like we'll see how he handles it. Like some people love that type of thing. The guy's like not lost many games in his whole college career. I think he's lost like 12 games or something. Like his record is just unreal. But yeah, you couldn't have told me this was going to happen. Like I did not see. I mean, I was surprised Washington beat Michigan, but you called that one. But like, I don't know if I
told you.
I don't know if anybody called this one. Like I really, even as a Vanderbilt fan, like they might have 20 fans out there, but I don't know if any of them even called this one. So
the 20 fans that were there in Vanderbilt they were optimistic. They were like, we can hang with these guys. So absolute madness in the college football world. We saw that. And then we see, Ohio State took care of their business in the second half. They held true to them 7-0 at the half, but it's Iowa. They have no offense. When you have a good defense, but you have no offense, it just doesn't end well. And Ohio State was able to take advantage of that, did their thing in the second half, won that 35-7. And then we get to more madness. We see Arkansas take care of Tennessee, 19-14. And watching the end of that game, I don't know if you had a chance to see the end of that game. You might have saw a clip out there, but Tennessee's quarterback there, I can't remember the name off the top of my head there. Can't remember his name. Let's see here. Oh, I can't even. Nico. We're going to call him Nico because I cannot pronounce that last name there. I'm sorry out there, folks, but I cannot pronounce that last name. But he rolls out, and in that situation, there's no time left on the clock. You have to throw the football. I don't care where you throw the football. If it gets picked off, it gets picked off. You have to make a play. He looks at his first route, not there, steps up, rolls out to his right, realizes that nobody's open, and then just takes off for the sideline there, gets pushed out of bounds, game over. It was just one of those situations where, knowing the situation, didn't even make an attempt at a throw at the end zone. Who knows? It probably wouldn't have been complete, but you got to take a shot there. So Arkansas wins that game against Tennessee. That was wild. Did you – I couldn't have seen that. I know in college football they say Arkansas is in the video game. They say Arkansas is the team to go with. But, I didn't expect this one here.
No, definitely not. Tennessee's really become, back in the landscape in the last couple of years. The last time Tennessee was good before this, it feels like was like the Peyton Manning era. But Tennessee beat Alabama just 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3, but 2. I think it was 2 years ago. And Vanderbilt unranked, excuse me, going in. That's at home in Arkansas, but still, that's a great win, obviously, for that program. And yeah, a tough, like I'm replaying that last play again. That is absolutely brutal. I get what he's trying to do there, but yeah, you can't. That's just one of those, like, that should give you nightmares, like that's just like, come on, man. It reminds me of like Jalen Milroe against Michigan last year when he's trying to run it right up the middle and then gets just annihilated at the line there. So yeah, tough one for Tennessee for sure. That's talk about a big fan base. That is a school with a huge fan base, but yeah, tough one. That's why I like college football though. It's very like cutthroat. It's, you lose a game, you lose 2 games. It's like, all right, you're not that team. You're not, you know what I mean? There's teams out there ripping off undefeated seasons. So you have very little margin of error, and like the it's another atmosphere. Like people probably wouldn't think so, but like the Arkansas, that place goes crazy. Like they don't have any professional sports, so this is where they all lean in there.
And they took the goalpost. You got to take the
Got it.
goalpost, I guess. That is just the new thing. They got to take the goalpost. I don't know if I saw the video of Vanderbilt or if it was Arkansas. They were carrying the field goal post down the street. I don't know which one. That is wild. That is wild to me. Like, imagine if you're driving down the road and you just look off to your left and you're like, there's a boatload of people walking. And then you look closer. What are they carrying? That's a freaking field goal post. Like, what is this? Like, what is, oh, crap. That's right. Oh, Vanderbilt just pulled out. It's just, that's wild. That's wild to me there. So Arkansas gets the win. Georgia takes care of their business. They bounce back after a loss in Tuscaloosa, 31-13 with the win over Auburn. They're a mess. They're a mess. Auburn's a mess. They will continue to be a mess until they get new coaching down there. Let's get to a little bit of what you know there. Penn State, 27-11 over UCLA. This was a close game at the half, 14-3, a solid game. UCLA didn't play terrible in this game, but just didn't do enough to get the job done there. What did you see? What'd you like out of your Penn State Nittany Lions in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I give UCLA, like, it felt like UCLA just couldn't sustain a drive. Like, they would make good, like, they were making good plays really in all four quarters of that game. Like, they really only had a field goal to the last minute or two, and they tack on that touchdown. But it felt like they were never completely out of that game, which causes me for a little bit of concern. Like, I just thought, I'm not saying that. I mean, the spread was 28.5. I was like, my goodness, they did not even get close to that. So I thought in the third quarter, like, Penn State would really, figure it out a little bit more so than they did. I mean, I think the defense did what they had to do. It was kind of like give up plays here and there and clamp down when they got in the red zone, which I don't necessarily love that, seeing that all the time. It's a little bit like, okay, why can't we just clamp down and get the ball back instead of letting them go down the field? But, yeah, I mean, Aller played for the most part pretty good, I thought. They didn't run the ball exceptionally well. I mean, Katron Allen, like the feature back, 21 carries for 78 yards. Really didn't see Nick Singleton. I don't know if they're preserving him for the USC game. I don't necessarily love that point of view either, just because it's like, you got him, use him. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to get these guys hurt. He wasn't on like an injury report or anything. What's crazy is like Liam Clifford, the brother of legendary quarterback Sean Clifford, you got to see a little bit of in for the Packers there, but he that was his best game by far. I mean, he had 3 catches for over 100 yards, 3 catches, 107 yards. I've never seen him, kind of get massive separation. So I don't know if that's sustainable. I'd like to hope it is, but I don't know if it is. So, I mean, a lot of Penn State fans were saying this was a boring game to watch. But I thought it was, I didn't find this. I thought the Illinois game was a lot more boring than this one for some reason. Maybe it was just the day game and I was more into it or whatever energy wise, but I mean, to me, this score was as much as, he's saying what's up with the Eagles. Yeah. A lot of bad things. But
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. We'll get to that with the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. To me, you can't say it was 27-3 because that's not what the scoreboard indicated, but that's what it really felt like to me. Like when they scored that last minute touchdown, it makes it look closer than it was. Sure, I wanted Penn State. I thought, excuse me, I thought they'd score over like 35 fairly easily, and that, like I said, that pauses me for concern because now we have to go out to USC, which, as you know, is not easy. You just saw the Badgers go out there, so it's I don't know. A lot of fans are saying we should beat USC and lose Ohio State. I don't think USC is like a check mark by any means. I think we're gonna have to play better than we did, and yeah, the UC, like I said, USC is a different animal. So I mean, yeah, we get away with a win, but I didn't think it was. I've seen worse. I've definitely seen like shakier, low scoring wins, but there was still meat on the bone, if you know what I mean. Like there was more out there than what they did, and that kind of is irritating, but it's a win.
It's a win, but you saw some flaws in there that make you nervous about some good teams. That's basically when you start facing some good teams, then you get a little bit worried about this team. I get it. I get you there. So we'll get on with it quick here. We'll look at the rest of the big games, I guess, that happened in the top 25. Miami survived. Cal blew it late. gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter. Not a good combination to try and pull off an upset win there. So Cal gives it up. 39-38 was the final there. Texas A&M completely blows Missouri away, like 41-10. Missouri, welcome. This is not even welcome. You're used to SEC football. So I don't even know what else to say except for welcome to being a top 10 team this week, because it was disastrous for top 10 teams this week. As Michigan goes down to Washington. I told you, Aaron, that was one of my picks, Washington over Michigan. It just had to happen. Washington gets the job done 27-17. And then you had the pick of USC and Minnesota. And Minnesota pulls off the upset win over number 11 USC 24-17. I mean, wow. It was madness in the top 25 this week. It was madness all the way around. And I mean, honestly, I know you don't feel as great about your Penn State Nittany Lions win there. But I tell you what, this week, it's just lucky that you survived. I'm going to be honest with you, because there was teams falling left and right there, and a loss to UCLA for Penn State would have been, wow. I mean, you would have been knocked off the map just like that. So, wow. I mean, just a crazy weekend. Anything else to add there, college football-wise?
Not really. I mean, I think, just the fact that I forgot USC lost already. Yeah, I almost think that's worse now. Like that now it kind of yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. That might be right. That might be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely worried about and like I said, I don't want to make this a Penn State centric show. I've raising my eyebrow because they're coming off a loss to a team that they shouldn't have lost to. I shouldn't say probably. They shouldn't have lost that game. Like I said, I picked them, but not that means much. But it's like you expected USC to go into Minnesota's not fantastic. Like they're okay. They're not bad, but it's like, man. And now USC coming home, and I'm sure Penn State's now the 4th ranked team in the nation, which is hard to believe, but it is. But it's like, okay, show us you're the 4th rank. This is a show me week for Penn. All the pressure has kind of turned towards Penn State, and you got to go all the way across country. So we'll see. But yeah, Michigan. I mean, I live to see Michigan fall. So this is. I don't want to say it was all Harbaugh, but their offense is just they're almost like an Iowa type of situation on offense. It's almost to the Iowa point of just no offense,
Yep. And that's why they're trying to buy him a quarterback at this point, because they need it. They desperately need a quarterback. Actually, Orji got pulled out in that game, and they ended up switching up the quarterback room, and it still didn't lead to a lot. I mean, he didn't play well, or he didn't play bad. I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head there.
Yeah, just had it there.
What the heck was his name there? Tuttle. Jack Tuttle. He didn't play bad. 10 for 18, 98 yards, had a touchdown, but threw a pick. So definitely did not help his case at all there. But didn't play bad. They finally found a quarterback who can actually throw the ball around. So that's, I guess, something to look forward to if you are a Michigan fan. All hope is not lost. The defense is still good for Michigan. It's just, it might be lost. All hope might be lost yet. So I want to get to, Fan in the Van podcast, thanks for tuning in. He had a comment there. He said, Packers got a squad, but what's with this Romeo situation in Green Bay? I wanted to get into that first because last week, before I knew what was going on, I said prayers to this guy because I hope everything is well with him and everything like that. And because nobody knew what was going on in the situation. All we knew was a personal matter. You never know with those. It could be something with his family. It could be something health-wise with him. You don't know. Well, then the breaking news came out. Romeo Doubs skipped practice on Thursday and wasn't present Friday because he was upset at his opportunities in the passing game. So he wasn't getting the ball a lot. So he's upset. So he didn't show up, right? So then the Packers, they go and they suspend him for Sunday, today's game against the Rams. They suspended him out of that game. And, Matt LaFleur said it after the game there. He goes, I'm looking forward to our conversation tomorrow. I fully anticipate him coming back. I'm hopeful that he'll come back and get ready to work. Distractions happen in the NFL. Distractions happen in life. That's what he had to say about the whole situation. He did not sound optimistic when he was talking in that whole when he was talking in the press conference. What's going on in the Romeo situation is this is a guy who he's not getting the ball. I did not, honestly, when I've heard Dobbs talk, when I've seen Dobbs, and, this is a quiet guy. This is a not very outspoken guy who doesn't say, a lot of crap. He doesn't seem like he would be this guy. And then all of a sudden this comes out and I'm like, what is going on, right? What is going on? And you can look at it from two ways, right? You can look at it from the perspective of Dobbs, who is saying to himself, well, if I don't start producing this year and next year, well, my big money day is going to turn into a lot less because my production's not there. So he's looking at it from that perspective, saying, I need the ball more. I need more targets to try and get that. Now you look at it from the realistic perspective. Jordan Love just came back last week. Jordan Love was out for multiple weeks there where you had Malik Willis at the starting quarterback position. You had Malik Willis throwing the ball, who the Packers game planned as a run. We're going to run. Look at the Colts game. We ran it 52 times against the Colts. Next game out, still ran the football against the Titans. I mean, it turned into a run-first offense. So when you have a guy like Romeo Dobbs complaining about the passing game and lack of attention to him, dude, you haven't had Jordan Love for multiple weeks. He just came back against the Vikings. Sorry. I don't know if you want a sorry in that situation. And then you get to the realist point with you have Reed, you have Wicks, you have Watson, you have Dobbs. Okay, so Reed's going off. Reed's having a fantastic year already. So Reed's going to get a lot of attention. If Wicks stops dropping the ball, I want to get to that. But if Wicks stops dropping the ball, he's going to get a lot of attention. So guess what? When those two guys start getting a lot of attention, you're going to get the number 2 corner on you. You're going to get the number 3 corner on you. Guess what, Romeo? The ball's coming your way. The ball is going to get to you when it gets to you. This is what I loved about the Packers offense that's now is apparently hurting them is the fact of we have an offensive coordinator and an offense that is ran around Jordan Love where Love spreads the ball out to all his guys, Kraft, Musgrave. You have all these guys there. And yet you aren't getting the ball enough. So, and I've Fan in a Van podcast that brought up, he said, agreed, they have a good receiver room, better than my team till they get Adams. Who's his team? Who's
he's a Steelers guy. He's a Steelers.
Oh, Steelers guy out there.
And those rumors are heating up. I mean, Devontae Adams has wanted out of there since I don't blame him. I mean, I don't know if you saw that clip of him saying like, a family-friendly show, but he said, I'm getting effing killed out here. I'm getting effing hit every effing play. Like, get me the F out, So, like, it's clear, like, he doesn't want to be in. And I don't necessarily blame him. It's funny. Like, I'd kind of love for him to go to the Jets and then them still fail. Like, just because it's like they think now, like, look, they lost again. Like, they're 2-3. I thought Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be the savior for the Jets, and now we're sitting here and they're 2-3. It's like, that's not that much different than when Zach Wilson was there. Like, it's just funny. But, yeah, I mean, if the Steelers got him, like that would be something. I mean,
that'd be huge. That'd be huge for the Steelers there. But that's another guy. Packer fans are like, oh, make a trade with Romeo Dobbs in it for Adams. I'm like, why would I want Adams back? You're talking about another guy who just wants the football. He wants the football in his hands. We don't want that in Green Bay right now because we want to have the amount of weapons that we do where they're all okay with. Wicks came out after a game, and it was Watson. It might have been Watson who said after a game, I didn't get a lot of catches this game, but I was blocking. I was doing my part there, and we won the game. That's what matters. That's what matters at the end of the day. So, I mean, Romeo, I love this guy. I love Romeo Dobbs. But at the end of the day, if this is the crap, this crap's going to continue, I see ya. Like, you're either on the bus or you're not on the bus. Like, either get on or you're not. I mean, at the end of the day, dude, you're either with us or you're not. And if that's the case, we'll see you later. We'll see you later there. That's what I got to say on the Romeo Dobbs situation. It is a mess. It is a mess. I'm hoping they get it figured out. But at the same time, if he doesn't want to get on the bus, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is the offense we run. This is how it's going to work. If you don't like it, tough shit. Like, end of the day, tough business. I don't know what else to tell you. If you don't like the offense, we're not going to play this game. You're a young wide receiver. You don't have ground to stand on yet. You have zero ground to stand on. So good luck. good luck out there. So I wanted to get to a couple more comments here. Kyle Edwards jumping in the chat. They're a good friend of the show. Kyle, what's up? I mean, we didn't miss the comment. We were just in the middle of something there. And he also says that the Jets stink. We agree. Nothing is better when Aaron Rodgers has a bad day, because when he has a bad day, Packer fans automatically win out there. And then we got Fan in the Van says they want a second round when Diggs got traded for a third and a fourth, or fourth sets the market. Do you think the Bills, speaking of, I don't want to get too far off topic here with the Packers, but you think that the Bills would be a team who would think about Davante Adams? You think, because they don't have a lot of weapons in that room for Josh Allen. You think that they would be a team, they lost Diggs, but now they're like, Davante's out there. They're looking for a trade. Maybe, just maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily blame them. I mean, coming from, I mean, you got to think AJ Brown's a diva. Like, I don't want to call, yeah, we've definitely ripped into the Jets on plenty of collabs there in the past. But, yeah, I mean, coming from like I said, AJ Brown's a diva. I mean, I don't know, Fan of the Van, Jim over there at Fan of the Van. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think Pickens is a diva. Like, I'm not trying to say that like he's a bad guy. I root against him. None of that. I just think all these superstar receivers are divas. So how much can you put up with it? Like we saw it in Philadelphia, it lasted one season. Like T.O. was too much. It was just detrimental to everything that they were. I mean, guy's a hell of a player. I mean, he catapulted that team to the Super Bowl. One of the best receiving seasons for an Eagles receiver ever. But like Diggs was a diva. You know what I mean? It was every year screaming, get the ball, this and that. And then like, do you want to involve yourself in a Davante Adams who's kind of the same way? Like they're all, I'm not going to say they're all the same, but like those superstar guys are superstars because they want the ball too. Like they demand the ball basically. So I could see the Bills. I mean, now the Bills have dropped 2 straight. Everybody thought the Bills were invincible and like, oh, nobody thought the Bills would be that good this year. And now look, boom, the Bills have dropped 2 games in a row. So what's it, Adams?
So Fan in the Van, he says, Adams, from what I hear, wants to be with a QB he has worked with. So it's Aaron Seabiscuit tendon or Derek, where's my car? I like this guy. I like this guy here.
Yeah,
so see, like, good stuff.
As much as Fan in the Van, I mean, hey, he likes the Steelers and the Yankees. It can't be too bad, right? You can't.
Ooh,
but he calls it how it is. He calls it how it is. Like I respect it. So, and they were kind of everybody's getting on me today for having 2 teams, which I mean, I hate myself for having 2 teams. I sometimes I can't look at myself in the mirror for having 2 teams. So I'll admit I'll own up to that one. But yeah, I mean, what do you think? I'm not gonna say is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Like I think the juice is definitely worth it with Davante. Like he's proven he's consistent. He stays healthy. Like he's a guy that like you can count on him. But if you're Josh Allen, or you like finally we're without a diva, and boom, now you bring Davante. It's like, oh, here's Stephon Diggs 2.0 with the like. If the Bills didn't lose these, I'll end it on this. If the Bills didn't lose 2 in a row, if they just lost the 1 bounce back today, I don't think these conversations would be as like brought, maybe we're not having this type of, but you lose 2 in a row. It's like, exactly. You got to bash your team. We bash our teams like crazy on here, but like if they're just rolling, like if they're the Vikings right now, you probably don't even think about bringing on Davante Adams,
Yep. No, I agree. It's a situational thing, and the Vikings, I don't think they want to deal with that mess. And then you look at, the Packers. Why would you want to deal with that? Packer fans out there are saying, yeah, let's go for it. I'm not one of those guys. I'm like, hey, we have this wide receiver room before Romeo Dobbs. I was like, these guys don't care if they get the ball or not. They just want to win football games. And now Romeo comes out with this, and it changes the whole demeanor of this wide receiver room. So, still a good wide receiver room in Green Bay, so I'm not overly concerned. It would be lovely. It'd be great to have Dobbs back, but at the same time, if this is how he wants to be, there's the door, buddy. Like we'll see on the flip side. You can go play with Aaron Rodgers or wherever you want to go play. I don't care at that point. So, there's the Dobbs situation for you guys. We just wanted to mention that here before we got into the Packers a little bit. So the Packers, they survive 24-19. The defense, they got ran all over. The run defense for Green Bay is a major concern for me right now. I look at this team. in this one. Looking at rushing yards given up, they gave up a total of 134 on the game there. And it doesn't seem crazy, but it was crazy. The Rams were running all over them. There was holes big enough to back a bus down in this one. The Packers defense, they couldn't fill. Quay Walker is still struggling in run defense. The defensive front for Green Bay, I watch Kenny Clark. I watch Rashawn Gary, all these guys. They get into the backfield. It looks like, holy crap, they're going to blow up a play. And then they miss a tackle. And then Kyren Williams, he's a good running back. I'm not going to lie. Kyren Williams is a good running back. He's good at changing directions. He's solid there. But, just man, oh man, this run defense for Green Bay is just getting torched right now. They're just getting torched. They take their opportunities when they got them. Let's go with that. They take their opportunities when they got them because McKinney, another interception. I don't know if you saw that, Aaron, but McKinney gets another pick. I had the stat. There is a stat on it. I posted it on our Facebook page out there. 5 picks in 5 games. First player, he is the first Packer to ever do it. First Packer to ever do it there. Have 5 games with an interception in his first 5 games. And it's actually since the 1970 merger, McKinney is the only NFL player to do it in his first 5. It ties Irv Comp for 5 straight in team history in 1943. So you got to go all the way back to 1943 to find that stat. So McKinney, this guy is unreal. He might be the most underrated star to come out of the free agency period. The Packers grab him up there. You got to love it there. And I love that. I love the opportunities that they take. But at the same time, his defense is getting beat up in the run game right now. So there's answers that need to be given in that department there. But like Kyle said there, you look at Jordan Love. He has an absolutely beautiful throw to Jaden Reed. And I tell you what, the throw, fantastic. The throw is fantastic. But I look at that play from Reed, the concentration to be able to haul that ball in. There's 3 defenders around him there, and he's able to haul that thing in. That was, both ends of it were beautiful. Everything was great on that end. So you got to love that. But also there comes the situation with Jordan Love where it's still, I don't know if it's being young. I don't know if he just his brain is still trying to figure it out, but he makes these ill-advised decisions, these ill-advised throws where he's throwing it into traffic, 3 guys around, 4 guys around. And then there was the pick 6 that he had today where he's, in the end zone there, he gets bumped. He's going to fall down, get a safety there. He ends up flipping it out, trying to get it towards Kraft, and Kraft sees it late, ends up being picked, taken to the house there. Just those decisions by Jordan Love make you question it. He has a lot of those throws where it's still like, this guy's still young. He's still figuring it out. I'm not overly worried with it, I guess I should say. I'm not overly worried with it. But when it comes to the point where, the Christian Watson throw where he got banged up, it sucks to see Christian Watson go down again. A lot of fans upset that Christian Watson's hurt again. But you look at that throw, you look where Jordan Love put Christian Watson in that game. It was a dangerous throw. We talk about quarterbacks making dangerous throws where they put, their wide receiver's head on a platter, and he's just got to accept that he's going to get licked. Well, Watson got licked on that one. Ends up getting banged up, hurt. Luckily not on the IR. Hopefully back soon, but gets hurt on that play. The dangerous throws out of Jordan Love are the things that worry me, I guess I want to say there. He has a good day. 15 for 26, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. The second half was fantastic. Kraft has a good game. I tell you what, Aaron, I don't know. I'm going to ask you this. Have you seen a lot of Tucker Kraft there for the Packers? Because when I watch this guy, I'm telling you what, the Packers have a little-known star in the making in Green Bay right now with Tucker Kraft. This guy blocks. This guy is an excellent route runner. This guy can do it all for you, and we saw it today. 88 yards, 4 catches, 2 touchdowns, putting the team on his back early in the second half there and doing his thing out in open space. I love it. I loved every second of it. Had you had time to see any of Tucker Kraft there with this Packers team?
I have not. Maybe he's a descendant of Robert Kraft. No, but no. There's a football tie,
the winning ways are there. The winning ways are there. We don't want the rest of it, but
I have not. Correct me if I'm with Packers teams in the past, it was like Jordy Nelson, it was like Devontae Adams, Donald Driver, not to say these guys aren't marquee names, but like they're not household names. You know what I mean? Like Jordan Love's probably the closest they have to. I mean, Jacobs, but like Jacobs not like a Packer. You know what I mean? Like he's a transplant from the Raiders. So it's like, I honestly, the only time I was really cued in on the Packers obviously was week 1, which I don't remember him doing like a lot that game, but obviously that's a long time ago. But yeah, I have not well versed in Tucker Kraft yet, but maybe I should be. Maybe I should be.
Oh, you should be. Oh, everybody out there in the chat, anywhere like that, you should be tuning in to watch Tucker Kraft, because this guy, I'm telling you now, he is George Kittle. He is the Travis Kelce's of the world. He's turning into that guy. He will be that guy at some
Hopefully
point.
Not Kelce. No,
hopefully not the good side of Kelce. We want the good side of Kelce, not the Taylor Swift mess of a situation Kelce. We don't want the haircut. We don't want the stash. Everything that's going on with him right now, we don't want that mess. We want the ball player. So, I mean, but Tucker Kraft, man, if you don't know him out there yet, you got to watch some film. You got to watch this guy, because he is an all-around fantastic football player. I love what I'm seeing out of Tucker Kraft there. Josh Jacobs, another big day for him. 19 carries, 73 yards, a touchdown for Josh Jacobs. His first touchdown with Green Bay. You love it. And the way that he scored it, the Rams, I don't know what it is, but they struggle at tackling. I don't know what it is. They miss a lot of tackles. And Jacobs goes up to the line. They miss a tackle. He ends up bouncing it completely across the field and ends up scoring a touchdown, his first one with Green Bay. Love that there. There was a couple other plays where the Rams were thrown into that same situation where, I mean, it's a mess. It is a mess. The Rams are just a mess right now. I don't know what it is. But that defense, I tell you what, that defensive front, they put pressure on you. Jordan Love was in some serious distress in this game. I didn't expect that, because, you look at this offensive line for Green Bay against the Vikings. Jordan Love didn't have that much pressure in his face all game long. It wasn't, like this. And now the Rams come in and they're like, this offensive line ain't that good, and they're going right through you. I mean, it was definitely an interesting thing there to see how good that defensive front is for the Rams. We talked about it a little bit in the preview show that they weren't bad, but I was impressed. I was completely impressed by what I saw there. Outside of that, I mentioned it before, but Quay Walker has struggled in the run game, and Edgerrin Cooper has been fantastic for the Packers. Linebacker there. He has been fantastic. He's making plays. He's in the backfield. Him, Evan Williams, and Javian Bullard are guys that I keyed in on in this game, because, Rashawn Gary, those guys, they ain't cutting it for me right now. So I'm watching these guys out there. I love what I'm seeing out of those guys. I want to see more Edgerrin Cooper in there for Quay Walker. I don't know if you move Quay Walker over to the off-ball guy. I don't know if that's the route you want to go. I know they have faith in him, but it seems like Quay Walker's got all the talent in the world, but he can't get off a block. He can't get off a block. He can't make tackles. And he makes tackles in space, but it seems like he blows past the play. He's not consistent. It's just all the bad that you can ask for in a middle linebacker that you can't have. You can't have that when you're getting beat up in the run game. You need this guy to be big. That's where I think Cooper can fill in. So I don't know. I am there. I love Quay Walker. I want to see Quay Walker do me something. But what I'm seeing out of Edgerrin Cooper right now is I want to see more out of him there. So I had a question for you, Aaron. So the Packers have had a little bit of an issue with Dontavian Wicks. This guy, fantastic receiver. He's able to, he's a great route runner. He reminds you of almost like I heard Tony Romo say it, I believe. It was like a Brandon Ayuk. He was mentioning that name with him. He's a fantastic route runner. He gets himself open, finds space, able to, get himself in position to catch balls. But he's got a drop problem right now. He's got a drop problem, wide open balls, everything like that. I know there's some pressure around him, but he's got a drop problem. And Packer fans are getting kind of restless with it. Now, I'm not giving up on the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to give up on this guy. But I guess, you're watching this guy. He's dropping balls left and right. What are you thinking with a guy like that, where he's got all the ability in the world, but he's not guaranteed that he's going to haul in an open pass? Where are you at with a guy like that?
See, that comes down to probably the mental side of the game. Oh, see, as my mic goes flying off the table. I didn't catch that, so I'm just as guilty. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying like the level from college to NFL, obviously it's a huge difference, but like if he wasn't doing it in college, I'd almost think, is it, hey, I'm up here in the NFL. Like this is like it's the game's going way too fast for me, and I'm thinking about things too much. Like if you're not as a receiver, I mean, never was. He's Clifford Franklin. I don't even know what that means. I'm a little confused on that.
I don't know who Clifford Franklin is. You're gonna have to
is that
to
like
be
a
more
Penn
specific.
State like Sean Clifford and James Franklin? I mean, I don't know about that
That's a
combination.
dangerous combo right there.
But no, I mean, I gotta think, because I've seen guys on the Eagles do that where it's like they just drop the ball. Like it's like there's a guy, Quez Watkins. He could run past everybody. You throw him a deep ball, he's dropping it every time. It's like, dude, your one job is to not your one job. You got to run routes. You got to block occasionally, but like catching the ball is like, that's like a quarterback not being able to throw the ball. It's like, well, okay, we need you to catch the ball. Like that's what you're signed up for. So I got to think maybe he's just in his head too much. Like I'm not saying that some guys don't have stones for hands. The replacement. Oh, I see. I'm slacking.
Oh, there it is. I forgot about the replacement. I thought you were talking real football players right there.
What do you think? To me, it's a like I said, there are guys out there that have stones for hands, and that's just they just have stones for hands. But if you can catch the ball at like a really good clip in the college game, as long as you can get separation in the NFL, I don't see why. Like you just turn into a drop mag. I mean, we saw Des Bryant even like he was in his prime, and all of a sudden he just drops at literally anything going towards that guy, he was dropping. So I think he's probably overthinking it.
Yeah, it does seem, that was my big thought, was it's a mental standpoint for him and trying to make the play before the play's even there. Right? You talk about in baseball all the time, guys going for the tag before they actually have the ball. It's like Wicks is trying to make a move before he actually secured the catch. You want guys to be able to do both at the same time, but at the same time, you got to make sure you got the catch first there. I know Wicks, I just looked up this, I couldn't find the stat specifically, but I saw through the first month of the season, no receiver had dropped more passes than Wicks. He had 4 drops, including 3 against the Vikings in their loss there. So you're talking about 3 drops against the Vikings. I believe you had a couple against the Rams there. So you're adding on to that total there. It's definitely not great, but it's like we're talking. It's one of those mental things where maybe he sees a game there where he has 5 catches for 5 for 6 or something like that. That gets his confidence going. You got to get yourself putting, into a confidence situation, just like Kyle Edwards just commented in there saying he might be putting too much pressure on himself to make a big play after a catch. 100% agree. 100% agree with you there. You got to make the play first before you make the big play after that catch. And that came up big for the Packers in this one because they had a 3rd down where Wicks dropped a catch, which could have resulted in a 1st down, but he dropped the catch there. Packers ended up giving it back to the Rams, and then they went on a little bit of a drive themselves before the Packers defense put on a stand. The game could have turned on its head right there because of one drop, and you don't want to blame that. I'm not blaming the game on him or anything like that, but in that point, it could have been dangerous. It definitely could have been a dangerous spot situation, whatever you want to call it. So it's one of those things where you hope that he can work through it because, like I said, this guy, I called him out to be one of my breakout players of the year for the Packers. He's that good in route running. He's that explosive where he's a big play kind of guy. I was just looking at his stats there. I believe he's got 1 catch over 20 plus yards on the year so far. Not huge, but this is a guy where he's, like I said, great route running, able to blow the top off of a defense. You need that in those kinds of guys. And he's had opportunities for those big plays, but drop the pass. And, you don't want to say that, those plays, there wasn't a hand in there wasn't contact or anything like that. But at some point, you need guys to make catches like that. So hopefully, we're hoping that Wicks is able to figure out and move on from that situation. So offensively for the Packers in this one, they had a fast start, and then they slowed down. They definitely slowed down in this one. The Rams were able to take the lead in this game against the Packers. They finally started to put it together in the second half there, got out to a bigger lead, and then the Rams battled back there. So defensively, we're looking at this Packers team, and we're saying this run defense needs to improve, and they need to find a way to do it here because, man, oh man, it was a win, but like you were mentioning there before, it was a win, but you were talking about it with your Penn State Nittany Lions before. It was a win, but you thought it should have looked different. You thought it should have looked a lot better. The Rams were without a lot of their talent. I mean, Nakua's out, Kupp's out, and their offense was still able to move the football. Their defense was able to slow down Green Bay. You take your wins, though. You take your wins, you move on. I'm going to accept the win. But we're going to get more into the Packers here this week. We're going to get more into this game that the Packers had against the Rams. And then we also want to look ahead to the Packers' next matchup there. As Kyle Edwards, he says next game, they should give him a wide receiver screen or a jet pass just to get him an easy one for his confidence. I agree. Some of those simple things where it doesn't seem like it should be this huge deal, but a simple pass, something simple like that where it's just, here's the ball. Go do it. Something simple. That's going to get his confidence up there, and he definitely has the ability to make a play after that. So I love that idea. I love that comment there, Kyle. I love that out of you there. So, Aaron, let's jump into the rest of the NFL slate here before we gotta check out the MLB playoff there because I know your Phillies are in action, so we got to get there. But let's look at what the NFL's got going on on this Sunday. We're not going to be able to, recap the whole schedule, but Cowboys, Steelers, they're in the second quarter finally now. The game started late, I believe because of rain. We're not sure, but we believe it's because of the rain out there. Let's see here. Jets lose to the Vikings. Okay. Jets lose to the Vikings. They're kind of what we expected, but not Aaron Rodgers throwing 3 interceptions. I did not have that one on my bingo card. This is a guy in Aaron Rodgers who, when he was in Green Bay, he was the most careful guy in the world. It almost irritated me at times. He wouldn't throw into coverage. He was, so conservative with the football. He didn't want to throw an interception. And then all of a sudden he goes against the Vikings, and it's the one to Andrew Van Ginkel ended up taking back for pick 6. He threw it right to him. He just dropped back in coverage there, and he threw it right to him. Just uncharacteristic, I guess I would say, out of Aaron Rodgers there. I mean, I'm here for it, but it definitely was an odd game there in London.
Yeah, and Trajan, I mean, hey, look at the other side of the coin. Look at the stat line for your guy, Sam Darnold. Boy,
Darnold's a dog, man.
Is this the beginning of the wheels falling off? 14 of 31 with no touchdowns. Let's keep that in mind, and a pick. I mean, we'll see. I can't completely berate the guy. They won the game. He I don't know if he outgunned. I mean, because Rodgers did have two tutties on the day. As Gronk would say, but 29 for 54 for Rod. I mean, they're dropping him back. They couldn't get Breece Hall any type of momentum. 9 carries for 23 yards. I mean, just nothing. Garrett Wilson still goes over 100 yards for the Jets there, but I mean, yeah, the Vikings right now, like I said, right now can't lose. The feeling. Oh, Kyle, I'm sorry. I'm here for the Patriots losing even more. I'll be honest with you. I'm here. It's a great thing. The Patriots are now taking a back seat, but you can shine all your rings in my face, and I have nothing really to say there because, we got our little what's it called? Baby bottle pop ring or whatever. No, the ring pop. That's what everybody says. The Eagles have a ring pop. So, I mean, I'll take it. The Bills don't have a ring pop. So, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, the Jets. See, everybody thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be the savior. The guy to make. I'm not saying the season's over, but 2-3, I don't think. If you knew Rodgers was healthy for every game, I don't think Jets fans had that on their bingo card. I mean, 2-3 is not spectacular, not groundbreaking. So.
Not at all there. Sam Darnold doesn't have a fantastic day, but Rodgers has a worse day. I guess you could say that. But Vikings, Aaron Jones gets banged up in that game. Not good for them Viking fans out there losing him because Ty Chandler ain't no Aaron Jones. I can tell you that much there. The Bears completely trashed the Panthers. The Bears completely ran them out. I picked the Panthers to beat the Bears with 1 point in our pick-em, and well, it didn't end like that. Caleb Williams, forgot his name there. Caleb Williams has a good day. He has a good day. So Bear fans are rejoicing right now. We're going to the Super Bowl again. They're all back at it again. We're going to the Super Bowl, Bear fans out there. Shut up. I'm done with you already. I'm done with you. Shut up. Your defense is all you got. You played Andy Dalton. His hair was on fire running up there. You played Andy Dalton in the Panthers. Congratulations. Your quarterback looked good against the Panthers defense. I don't know if you want a round of applause. Like, what do you want? What do you want from me, Bear fans?
And don't you? I mean, I thought I was kind of on the flip. I didn't know if I'm still not bullish on Caleb Williams. I'm really not, but I didn't think the Panthers could replicate. If your offense thinks face the Panthers, yeah, I mean, pretty much. It's like the Panthers, I think, found lightning in a bottle for 1 week, and now they're kind of like, okay, now we don't have an identity again, and that's what you saw here. Like former Eagle great, Miles Sanders, right? He leaves the Eagles, goes to Carolina for the money because no running backs are getting paid. I bet you he regrets that decision. I mean, I'm not saying that he had to stay in Philly, but like even if he went to like, a subpar, like I don't know, like a Pittsburgh, whatever, like just a contending team for the playoffs, he'd be like, you couldn't have picked the worst spot, man. You really could. Like, you go there for the money. I get it. You're getting paid, more money than most backs anymore in the league because no backs are getting paid anymore. But man, oh day, that's rough. And then you have no offensive line, and then Andy Dalton there. I mean, I honest to God, if I was Andy Dalton, I'd just be like, just trade me somewhere that I can at least not get killed every other play, because it's like the guy has no time to throw. I mean, he's the Red Rocket, but like he's not, his body at his advanced age, he's not gonna last. Like then they'll throw Bryce Young back in there. Like it'll just be a disaster. They need to reset for a couple of years. I don't know what their owner is, just not the best, to say the least. So it's unfortunate for their fans. I mean, they've kind of peaked under the Cam Newton times, and now it's like, okay, now what? Like it's just a disaster. They've been like a dumpster fire for quite a few years now, and I don't know when they see themselves out of this. Like I just don't know.
When they get new ownership, management, everything else in between. That's about the only time I can find a way out, because I don't believe Bryce Young is your problem there, folks. I believe you got a deeper-rooted problem there in Carolina. So Bears get the win. Fantastic, Bear fans. You can rejoice again. I'm glad for you. I'm glad for you out there. Now go play a real team. Ravens win a thriller. That was a thriller against the Bengals. I will tell you what, that is one of the better games. The Bengals, they keep getting shafted. I don't know what it is. They keep they're putting up points. They're putting up points. I mean, they played a tight game with the Chiefs. Now they play a tight game with this Ravens team here. They played a tight game with the Commanders. They played a tight game with the Patriots. I mean, they shouldn't have lost to the Patriots to begin with. Sorry, Kyle, there, but they shouldn't have lost to the Patriots to begin with there. But I mean, man, oh man, this defense for the Bengals needs to just figure out how to slow somebody down, because the offense is scoring. They just got to find a way to slow somebody down out there, and it wasn't the Ravens. The Ravens, I think they were like, I don't know, on the Avengers movie with Thanos when he gets the last Infinity Stone. Before he got him, you just had Lamar Jackson, you had Likely, you had all these guys. But then all of a sudden he got the last Infinity Stone, and he's like, oh, crap. I got Derrick Henry in the backfield. I forgot about this guy. Oh, snap my fingers. There he goes. I mean, it's like the Ravens finally figured out we have Derrick Henry. I don't know why they didn't know that right away. Like, they didn't know that he was there. But they finally – and Kyle, I agree. The Bengals defense sucks. Like, they are bad. Like, that is a bad defense, because when your offense is putting up points like the Bengals are, where's the problem? The problem lies in the defense there, but I do find it baffling that the Ravens, it seemed like it took them like 4 weeks to figure out that Derrick Henry was there. I don't know why.
I don't know if it was like, I thought they might continue that. Maybe if they didn't drop the first two games, they would continue to like not use him to the fullest, because they're like, okay, like you figure the Ravens are like a staple for the playoffs. That's a team that just, they find a way to be in the playoffs year in and year out. I'm not saying you got to take that for granted. Like, anybody can find a way not to make this. I mean, I hope Kyle and Trajan. When I say I'm like infestated with Ravens. Like, I cannot get away from Ravens fans. I can't. Like, I could be in the middle of Utah and Ravens fans will find me. Like, it's like, I don't understand it. It's been like that for a while. A lot of close friends, like slash just people I work. Like, I just interact with Ravens fans all the time. And like when they won today, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, here we go. Like, I wish I could just turn my phone off for 24 hours because it's just, oh, did you see Lamar? Oh, this, that. Oh my God. Like, they're the best team since then. And all I kept saying to him was like, yeah, Derrick Henry's the best. Like, I would not give Lamar. He balled out. He did. I don't like hate on the guy. It's just like they worship this guy like he's like Tom Brady ×2. Like, they really do worship this guy. Like, he's the best of the best of the best. Like he said, he balled out. I mean, I was watching this game, I was working throughout this game, but I had it on, I was like in and out. And I'm get slowed up in the overtime period. I get to watch a good bit. And the Bengals had that 3rd and 7 right before they kicked it. And they decided to run it up the middle there. And they got like 2 yards, maybe. I don't think they even got that. Right. And I was like, you got Joe Burrow, like, just try to get a first down here. Like, even if you don't get it, you're pretty much at the same spot. Like, I get just running the ball, setting yourself up, but then you never know what's going to happen. I like, not to say, I mean, Burrow could have turned the ball over. Yes, you get that. You're trying to just get to a win, but it's now a 53-yard field goal. The holder completely botched it. Like, I mean, you couldn't have botched it worse. He almost gets it back, and then they kick it, and it's far left, and I'm like, yep. As soon as that happened, I was like, the Ravens aren't going to waste another chance. They're just they have too much on offense. You can't stop Lamar from running, and then obviously they hand it off to Henry. He's like full steam ahead down the sideline. I was like, yep, there's your ball game. But I just felt like sometimes, I'm not saying go for it on 4th and 14, but like, you got Burrow, give him like a safe route. So if he incompletes it, it's not going to be a pick six. Like, okay. Like, I trust Burrow. I really do. And like you said, you hit on it great. The offense wasn't the problem. They couldn't stop a nosebleed today. And it's like, I feel for Burrow. It's either the offensive line sucks and now the defense or the defense sucks. Now we got to the point the defense sucks. It's like the guy can't do everything. And like I said, Derrick Henry on the rate when they signed him, I was like, that's a problem. I still agree with Kyle. I think they find a way to, no pun intended, they find a way to fumble it before the Super Bowl. But Derrick Henry's a monster. Like, I have the most respect for that guy. So,
on the bright side for Bengals fans out there, you guys do have the Giants next, and then you have the Browns.
Hey,
and then you play the Eagles then, and then you have the Raiders, but then you play the Ravens again. So you're going to be able to pick up some wins like you should. I guess you should. I don't know, because you did lose to the Patriots. And those fantastic Patriots, they let the Dolphins get a win. I mean, that was awesome. That was so nice of the Patriots to allow the Dolphins to get a win. Kyle, I want to thank you and thank your Patriots for giving this Dolphins team life again, because they thought that they were done. They were just didn't even need to come back because the season was already lost, and now they're back to 2-3. So that's great. That's great there. Kyle did have to say, let's see here. Burrow was firing it all over the field. They should have taken a shot in overtime. Agreed. Let Burrow win the game for you. Let him win the game. That's what he does. He's a big game guy. So Patriots lose. Kyle is loving that right now. Let's see here. Browns Commanders. That was a dogfight. You gotta love dogfights there. 34-13. Not even a dogfight. Jaden Daniels is. I'm telling you what. There was people who said that Jaden Daniels could be or might be the best quarterback coming out of that draft. I think they might be right. I think Jaden Daniels is a special kind of dude, and the Commanders got one there. And McLaurin's finally got somebody to throw him the football. You got to love that. I mean, man, this Commanders team, you're looking at your NFC East there with your Eagles sitting in it, and it's dangerous times, because I don't want to say that the Commanders are going to continue this pace, and they're going to compete with the big dogs and everything like that. But I love what I'm seeing out of Jaden Daniels right now, and if it's not this year that the Commanders find a way to make something happen, in the near future, if they put some players and put a defense and everything around Jaden Daniels, this could be a dangerous team.
Yeah, no, I'm only shaking my head in reaction to like now we got to deal with them because they were kind of it was kind of a pushover for so long. I mean, I remember when like they had Jason Campbell. That's like the last time they were like, oh man, like they're competitive, like kind of not even consistent. Like they'd have a year or two. Like, and I wasn't like a hater of Heineke. Like I thought Heineke wasn't bad, and then they go to Sam Howell. I was like, oh, Sam Howell's probably a little bit better than Heineke. Like I never. Like it's rare. I mean, obviously the Kirk Cousins days, like they never have like a bad quarterback. It's just you're not used to seeing them have like an elite. Like I'm not gonna say elite yet, but like he's if he plays this way for years to come, like he'll be top 10 quarterback, top 5, whatever. We can have that conversation down the road, but like he's lighting the world on fire right now. And like Kyle said, I mean, Watson needs to be done. Like, did you see that? The fact that like Cleveland wanted to go for it on that 4th down, and he's just like, "No, I'm good." Like, I'm walking up. It's like, dude, this guy should be arrested for highway robbery, $250 million guaranteed. And I mean, you talk about like that money could have been lit on fire. It's just about the same. And I was a Watson guy when he was in Houston. Like, I was like, dude, I love this guy. Like, he's so fun to watch. Like, he's running all over the field. He has a cannon. Like, I even watched him at Clemson, win the national championship. Like, guy was a baller, like, to the fullest. And, like, watching him now, it's like watching two different players. Like, it kind of reminds me of, like, the Carson Wentz I mean, Carson Wentz isn't even a starter anymore. And, like, that guy was in the MVP conversation. Like, he was whatever. Like, you know what I mean? He was up there. It's like I kind of related to that only because it's such a fall from, like, you saw a guy at like a top level, and now it's like it's a shell of themselves. And it's like his demeanor completely. And I know this whole like, off the field stuff probably got to him, but it's like, you would think by now he would at least on the foot, like you would think football might be the escape. And I'm sure he hears like the most hostile things you'll ever, like, people in the stands will say whatever they want, whenever they want, but I would think football would be the escape for this. And like, it's maybe mentally he's checked out. Like he just can't do it anymore.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, Houston, Deshaun Watson was something different. It was Jaden Daniels. That's what it was. It was running around. It was making plays. It was throwing the deep ball. It was everything. And now it's like, wow. I mean, what is this guy? I mean, 15 for 28, a touchdown on the day, but 7 sacks for 33 yards. Like the 7 sacks don't help you out at all. 7 sacks don't help you out at all. Kyle Edwards said, I could give them what Watson is for $2.5 million. They are paying $250 for this. That's true. That is true. I could give them that sitting in this rolling chair right now. I know that. I agree. I mean, Watson has been a mess for him.
Flacco.
This team's a disaster. What's that?
I was saying Flacco, like, look how they played under him, and like he was just on like $1 million or something. Like, I don't know. Crazy.
Why don't you just throw Jameis Winston out there and just see what happens? Like at this point, what's the worst that happens?
They see, like, does their front office ever say like we messed? Like,
they have to. They have to.
You got to think though, you got screwed by this guy though, because it's like his effort level doesn't even look like it's there. So it's like you're not getting the guy as advertised. Like, yeah, maybe his skill set took a backseat, but now his like demeanor, like everything is not. You're getting like 50%, not even. You're getting like a quarter of what he was in every facet, and it's like the ownership probably thought, wow, like we finally have the chance to go get the guy. And I mean, I got to feel for Cleveland a little bit. That's like, and you see Baker going to the playoffs. It's like, man, it's like, wow.
They screwed up. And, you want to feel bad for them, but at the same time, it's like, you guys signed this while it was a mess. All those, they were all these accused, he did this, he did this, he did this. There was like, 20 of them at some point there. And you signed up for that. You brought that into your locker room knowing fully that this is what's going on. That's your problem. You signed this crap show on. And like you said, I mean, you have all this off the field crap. It's probably, I mean, I'm not going to say I feel bad for the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I feel bad for the guy, but it's probably mentally draining. This guy goes through everyday life where everybody looks at him like he's a criminal. He's this terrible guy, everything like that. And you're going to get that on the field then. It's like you can't just flip it off. It's always there. It's always there. Maybe it's opposing teams trash talking you about it. It's the fans. It's this, it's that, it's social media. It's everything in between. You're seeing it constantly. You can't just play football at this point. You can't. I mean, you did this to yourself, and now you got to live it. And the Browns screwed up. They screwed up big time with that deal. The dude he's a piece of something. I'm going to go piece of something. POS, right? You fill in the blanks there on him. That's what he is. But I mean, the Browns, they screwed themselves. They do it, and they do it all over again. It's like that movie. What's the one with Kevin Costner? Draft Day. Fantastic movie. If they had him in the front office, he wouldn't draft Bo Callahan. He'd go with the other guy. They'd go with Jameis Winston. But guess what? The Browns went with Bo Callahan in this scenario, and they suck. And we're here for it right now. So Commanders, Jaden Daniels making his case to be a top 15 quarterback at least in the NFL, because this dude is balling out right now. Jacksonville gets a win. Aaron, you picked that one. You had Jacksonville with the win over the Colts. That was a banger game too. I mean, that was back and forth. 37-34 was the final in that one. I tell you what, though. Joe Flacco, I don't know what it is. I mean, Trevor Lawrence had a good game, but I want to get away from Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had a good game. Joe Flacco is a guy who was sitting on his couch 2 years ago, dropping his kids off at school, not having a care in the world. He gets called in. He takes the Browns to the playoffs. Now he's coming in and playing for this Indianapolis Colts team, and yes, they lost, but he goes 33 for 44 for 359 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wow. Joe Flacco is playing, we talk about it with Sam Darnold and Andy Dalton's first start there, whatever, after that, his hair was not on fire anymore. There was nothing on fire anymore. But Joe Flacco is playing like a dude who, I mean, why did the Browns ever get rid of him? Why did the Browns not ask him to come back? Like, this guy is balling out, and I love it.
Oh, I mean, who would you rather have as your backup? Like, show me another backup in the league, and I will raise you Joe Flacco. You know what I mean? It's like
this is true.
It's because it's not like it's a game here or there. Like, look what he did with the Browns. I mean, he played like 6-7 games last year, 5, 4.
Yep.
More than 4 games. I know he played more than 4 games for the Browns. So he's proven he can do this like consistent. This isn't like a flash in the pan. Like Andy Dalton to me, like Cooper Rush. Oh, everybody's on Cooper Rush. He's a flash in the pan to me. Like Joe Flacco has gone from the Jets to like ever since he left Baltimore, it's like he's landed in all these random teams, random situations, and like the results have been eerily the same. Like and he's played at an elite. Like you can make a case he plays at an elite level. Like he plays at a very good level. I'll put it that way. Like I mean, this might be a hot take, but like for the money you spend, do you take Joe Flacco over Aaron Rodgers right now? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's like you're the value proposition. No. The value proposition is crazy. Like, I mean, the Eagles have Kenny Pickett. Would I rather have Joe Flacco? Absolutely, I would. Like, who else is there? Like, I take Joe Flacco over Russell Wilson right now. The Steelers have Russell Wilson. I mean, he had a decent year last year, but like, maybe that's a debate, but. Because maybe Russ still has something in the tank, but like there's a lot of guys that like the Dolphins would die to have like Flacco, consistently week in and week out since Tua went down. I would think. Yeah. I know he's 39. Like it comes with like like do we do this? But like why not? Like you know what I mean? Some of these other guys are just these second stringers are good luck. You're gonna get killed. So.
He's as old as some of these other quarterbacks' his mother and father. That's what I know. Like that's baffling. That's baffling. And this guy is balling out. So you gotta love it there. It's a great story. It is always a great story. And I'm hoping that he keeps doing it. I am hoping that he keeps balling out for him, because if the Indianapolis Colts run it, they somehow find their way into the playoffs underneath of Joe Flacco. Wow. Like Joe Flacco leads 2 straight years. He takes the Colts to the playoffs. He takes the Browns to the playoffs. Joe Flacco is a different kind of dude at that point. So you got to love that there. Outside of that, let's quick skim through this so we can get to the MLB playoffs real quick here. Kyle Edwards says Joe Flacco over Aaron Rodgers. I agree. Right now, you take Joe Flacco over Aaron Rodgers. I got to agree with you there. Texans win a great game against the Bills there. Fairbairn hits that 59-yard field goal there to walk it off for the Texans late. Broncos wreck up on the Raiders there, just completely out of whack. Cardinals beat the 49ers. So Aaron loses 3 points on the Cardinals and 49ers game there. We saw the Packers and Rams.
Another reason they hate that's all I got. Another reason they hate the 49ers. Like, I literally told you that, like, I hate them and I don't want to root for them, and then they lose on top. Like, it's just they love to hate me. They love to hate me. The 49ers do.
49ers just want to hate you out there. Elizabeth, 321 Elizabeth. We're doing great. We're doing great tonight. We hope that you're doing great too, in the comment section there. We hope that you're doing great out there. Thank you for tuning into the show there. Packers, Rams, we already went over that game. Then the Giants beat the Seahawks. Wow. Thank God I didn't pick that game. I almost went into that. I almost picked that game. We talked about that game. We're like, this is an easy one. This is an easy pick there. Wow. 29-20. Daniel Jones, the Giants. They got something there. 2-3 now. Watch out in the East if you are the Eagles. That's all I know. You got the Commanders. You got the Cowboys. You got these Giants. I mean, Aaron, as an Eagle fan right now, you're scared.
I mean, I kind of am. I kind of, honestly, I don't know. Being 2-2 isn't great. Having an early bye week isn't great. I don't love that either. So we got to bounce back against the guy we just went on a tirade about, Deshaun Watson. So if we don't beat the Browns at home, the Fire Sirianni crowd is going to really come out. I mean, you're going to see it, and you'll probably see people in the stands running on the field trying to tackle Sirianni. Like, this city does not stop at anything. Daniel Jones. I mean, we're getting a little. We might be stretching. I don't know.
I don't know. No Malik Neighbors, and he goes 23 for 34 for 2 touchdowns in this one against the Seattle's defense, who sucks. So I don't know. I don't know about that. It's a bold take, Kyle. It's a bold take right there. That's all I know.
He's more mobile. I'll give him that.
This is true. This is true there. And like I said, we got the Steelers and Cowboys matchup right now. It's going on 6-3 Cowboys in that one. So we can't get through our final totals here, but Aaron already lost the NFL version of the totals, and we tied in the college football pick'em. We tied in the college football pick'em there. Aaron had the Badgers over Purdue. He had USC over Minnesota, so he lost that one there. And then Coastal Carolina over Old Dominion. Coastal Carolina won that game. I had Washington over Michigan. I had Indiana over Northwestern. James Madison did lose to UL Monroe, so not a great one for me there. But 3-3 was the final score there. And then in the NFL, Washington over the Browns, and I had the Vikings over the Jets. So Aaron will be taking the whipped cream to the face on Friday. That's all I know.
Have to.
He's got to. He's got to. So make sure you guys are tuning in out there.
Love it.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it there. So let's flip gears here. Let's get into the MLB playoff here before we got to wrap it up for the night there. Aaron, I tell you what, the Phillies don't want to beat the Mets, but the Mets don't want to beat the Phillies. So they played a tight one today. That was a good game. That was a great game there. We saw the first game 1, 6-1. The Mets won it, and then the Phillies win 7-6 in game 2. Aaron, take it away. What do you got?
I mean, to me, like, I know, you're not an NHL guy, but I just think the NHL and the MLB playoffs are just top level. Like, it's so, I compare those two. It's a weird comparison, I know, but like, it is just, I don't know. You can't miss a pitch. Like, NHL is just there going a million miles an hour every single time down the ice. Like, it's craziness. So, I mean, that embodies the game today. I mean, we can get into game 1 was just, it was 1-1 for most of the game there. And then the Mets just absolutely, like, the bullpen. I mean, you bring in Hoffman, who's been absolute rock all season long, all-star, and then he gets hit around, and you bring in, long hair, can't picture. He pitched today. I was Matt Strom. Yeah. Getting late here on the East Coast a little bit, but no, the Matt, like, you bring those two guys in last night, or just last night, and I'm like, okay, no problem. boom. Like, it's just like, what is going on? Yeah, maybe somebody did though. We'll see.
Wasn't a home run though, was it?
No, that the walk off.
That's why. It's got to
But
be a whole Kyle Edwards there. He says Castellanos had a walk off and no broadcaster got fired. It's got to be a home run though.
Yeah. Matt Strom, the weirdest way to maybe have a last name there, but I mean, I just thought game one was just it was reminded me of many Philly collapses over the years, whether it be the Eagles, I mean, I've seen the Sixers do it. Not that I'm a huge basketball guy, but I'll tune in when the playoffs are going on, and like it was a collapse for the ages. And then today, like, I'm not gonna say it couldn't have went better, because obviously, like, 7-6 is like, goodness sakes, like, who, like you said, who wants this game? Like, it really came down to late inning heroics. But yeah, I mean, talk about just entertainment level. Even if you're not a Phillies or a Mets fan, like that 7th, 8th, 9th inning, you're not going to see many crazier things than that. Just back, forth, runs here, runs there. I didn't worry about Edwin Diaz. Like, when he came in, I was like, that's great for the Phillies. Like, I thought, if I'm sitting there as a Mets fan, that guy scares the living, scares me to death. Cause he's rocky. Ever since he came back from that injury, he has not been the same Edwin Diaz. It's not like the guy that, the trumpeter Edwin Diaz year and like everything else. But yeah, I mean, Phillies, squeak by with a win. Castellanos had 3 big hits in that game. Like, really, if you look at it. But I mean, Harper was really the only one to get it going, which, I mean, that's your guy. That's who you look to kind of start a rally. But it's like Harper with the 2-run home run to get it to 3-2 was huge. Because at 3-0, like, you still feel like, oh my goodness, when is this team going to score a run? Like, it feels like that. And, all the pressures on the Phillies and things like that. So long story short, they come out of there with a win. It was far from a pretty win. I thought Sanchez pitched relatively well for a big moment, honestly. Wheeler did like as good as you're going to see from a starting pitcher the night before, but like I said, bullpen imploded. This will be fun on Tuesday when it goes back to New York, because it'll be rocking up there too. I mean, it'll be that city is starving for wins and starving to get to a World Series. So this might turn into the best series. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, I still think the Phillies are a better team, but it's who shows up, right? Like, game one was like, we could think the Phillies are better, but they didn't seize the moment. So now maybe it'll be better for them on the road. I don't know, but it's quite wild. I mean, this is what October baseball should be, though, in my opinion. Like, yesterday was you don't want to see, even if your team wins, it's not as fun as when it's just like an absolute dogfight like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was a great game too. And like Kyle said there in the comments, it embodied what an MLB playoff game was, a great game. Like, all around great game. You had your back and forth action there. The Mets were able to put up runs. The Phillies put up runs. You got to love that kind of game. And Phillies survive, right? They survive. End of the day, that's what the playoffs are about, is surviving, getting it done when you have to. So the Phillies win game 2. That series is going to move to New York now. That'll be on Tuesday, like you mentioned there. The weird part was, and I wanted, you had mentioned it before the show there, is the odd scheduling for the playoffs. So we see the NL, they got to play, I believe, back-to-back nights. Yeah, they play back-to-back nights there. I know the Dodgers and Padres were delayed because of fans throwing objects on the field. So that game has not started yet. Well, that's an odd situation there in LA. But we see the NL side of it, they play back-to-back nights before then they'll, go on their plane trip, whatever it is, bus trip down the road or whatever, LA, they're going to take a bus trip down to San Diego. But you see the NL doing it that way, but the AL, they have an off day. I don't know. Anybody in the comments section? I know, Kyle, you're big into baseball like we are here. I didn't see anything on why the schedule was like that, but the AL's got an off day today. And then they're going to play their game tomorrow. So that'll be Royals, Yankees, and Tigers and Guardians will play on Monday. Then they have an off day. And then they go play on Wednesday and Thursday. Then they have another off day before the Saturday game. odd setup. What did you make out of that setup? Did you see anything on it, like why it's set up that way? Is it something with the TBS like TV rights? Does that have to do with it?
It's got to be, right. Like that's just like I said, like that stood out to me. Looking over this schedule, I get the Phillies, Mets, and the Padres, Dodgers. Like they're traveling tomorrow. They're not going to play tomorrow. I get that completely. But yeah, like the Yankees and Royals play one game. Boom, now you get a rest day. Like, and then same thing on the Guardians and Tigers. So I mean, I get it from like a perspective, like. Phillies, Mets are going to play Tuesday. Yankees, Guardians are going to play. Like maybe they're just trying to separate the days to, get the most viewership, which baseball is like dying to have. I get that. But yeah, it is kind of like I guess it's just how it unfolded. And like going up against the NFL today, I'm not sure how they did, but I would argue like that Phillies Mets game, like maybe because I have a rooting interest, but like, compare that to like a Seahawks Giants game. I mean, I guess if you're a fan of one of those teams, we can get into like that's a whole conversation. But like just as an NFL fan versus like, okay, I'm going to watch baseball, I'm going to watch football, no matter who the teams are. Like that baseball game was crazy. So like if baseball can have games like that, I'm not saying they're going to choreograph a game like that, but like if the Royals and Yankees go 12 to 11 tomorrow and like the bottom of the ninth inning or the top, whatever, like if it goes that way, like, that's what brings viewership. Like we don't want to see a blowout. So, I mean, I guess like the more I look at it, it's just a separation of, okay, this day, these two teams are going to play, that day, these two teams are going to play.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's an odd setup. It definitely is an odd setup, but I was just kind of looking it up there, and it has to do with, TV, everything like that, avoiding football, trying to spread it out during the week. So you have a full week of baseball instead of missing days in there. So that's essentially what they're going for in that sense. But to wrap us up here, I did get a news article that came across. I just was flipping through here, and it came across there. There were fans, 26 people in total, were ejected from Wisconsin's football game on Saturday against Purdue. I did not know this. I just saw it come across there. I believe 7 of them were identified as UW students. The reasons for ejection included intoxication, possessions of unauthorized alcohol, disorderly conduct, and tobacco use inside the stadium there. 9 were also cited and ejected for underage alcohol reasons, as well as throwing objects. In all, officials responded to 43 first aid calls, 16 paramedic calls, and 5 calls were for an ambulance in this Badger game. So we blow out Purdue, and we haven't had this kind of success in so long that we don't even know. We don't even know how to win football games anymore. We don't even know how to win football games. The fans just go ballistic out in the crowd, and we have ejections. That was crazy. That was a crazy stat to read there. Kyle, I did not know that game actually happened. We've been in this for a while. I did not know. I just saw, they did. They did win 10-2 there. They did win 10-2. Then why did I just see this news report come across that there was fans throwing stuff on the field 23 minutes ago? ESPN's late reporting. That's all I know. They're late.
Kyle missed the beginning of the show. More like, if you tune in the second minute or the 39th minute, whatever. But we talked about that, like Vandy taking those goalposts. Like that's the best. You gotta love that. And like, what I don't get about that though sometimes is like, why throw it in the, because I think they threw it in the river again. It's like, why can't we just put this somewhere? Like, I guess somebody will come get it if you just put it somewhere.
Put it in your dorm room or something. Just carry it up the steps.
Put it like find your youth football field and like put it there. So I don't know. I guess throwing it in the river is like, we showed them, like they're not getting it. I don't know, but that's awesome. I mean, college football is like the top tier, like just madness. So like I love it. But yeah, I mean, Padres went off, and then the Wisconsin. I mean, how many people can you eject every like? If you ever go to a college football game, it could be Division II. Like people are acting.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So I'm not gonna crap on Wisconsin people for getting a little round. Like I'm sure, like I said, you go to any Alabama game, there's people going crazy. Tennessee, I don't care where you go. It's you mix alcohol and people hitting each other on a field, it's people
Gets
are
a
gonna
little
act.
rowdy.
Yeah, it's a little rowdy,
Can you? I just was thinking about that episode. If you've watched the show Friends, where they're carrying that couch up the steps, and Ross is in the back and he's yelling "pivot," the whole time. I was just imagining them carrying a goalpost up the stairs in the dorm, and one guy's in the back just yelling "pivot," and they're trying to move it to the side as they're going up. It ain't gonna fit. We'll turn it sideways. Just turn it sideways. It'll fit up.
Make it fit. Yeah,
make it fit. Kyle says, good thing that Wisconsin didn't beat OSU or Michigan. They would have burned the town down. That is why Madison is still standing, my friend. That is why it's still standing. We haven't experienced Ohio State beatdown since 2010. Since 2010 was the last time the Badgers took care of them Buckeyes, beat them when they were number 1 in the country. That was J.J. Watt. That was J.J. Watt's coming out party was in that game against Ohio State. Sure. Massive game for J.J. in that one. So with that, Aaron, anything else we got to wrap up the show for the day here?
I think we hit on everything. I mean, really, we really went around the bases, and we, no pun intended. We went around the bases on the show tonight.
That's what we do. We hit home runs. Dingers only, baby. That's what we do here. Dingers only. What is that? Wasn't that a commercial with – who was that? Was it Greg Maddux? Was Maddux in that commercial? It was 2 Braves pitchers, wasn't it?
Man, I forget that one. I wish I didn't.
Shoot. Now I got to find that one. I thought it was 2 Braves pitchers. I can't remember who it was. Was it Ichiro hitting bomb? I don't know. I don't remember now. I don't remember off the top of my head. But Chicks dig the long ball. That was the commercial there. Chicks dig the long ball was what it was. I can't remember who the heck was in that commercial. It's going to bite me. I got to look it up when we wrap it up here. So with that, Aaron, let the people know where to find you across social media out there.
Yeah, of course. And thanks as always. We had a blast. I love the interaction tonight was on point. So if we can keep that going, that would be awesome. But yeah, as always, thanks. And Brutally Honest Sports on Twitter, Brutally Honest on Twitter, no T, and then Brutally Honest Sports on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all the platform, all the podcasting platforms. Man, I'm fumbling the ball, but yeah. Other than that, TikTok, Brutally Honest Sports. Yep. So I appreciate it as always.
Make sure you check this guy out. And make sure you're back here. We're here Sunday nights. We're here Tuesday nights, and we're here Friday nights. Time varies. We're like baseball. We're like rain delays. We never know what's going to happen. Life happens, everything like that. But we're here Sundays, Tuesdays, and Friday nights there. Kyle is along with us. He's in the comment section tonight, just blowing us up, but he's along with us for some of them games too. Maddox and Glavin, that's who it was. I think it was Maddox and Glavin too. I think you're right on that one. Chicks dig the long ball. That's what I remember in that one there. So with that, like I said, make sure you're tuning in. Tuesday. We're going to be back on Tuesday. We'll be back on Friday night to give you the preview for next weekend's game there. But with that, for Aaron and myself, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. But until we catch you guys